Tommy Freeman, thanks for joining us, mate.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Do you know you're our first guest we've ever had on that's actually younger than Joe Loma Rugby on PS1? Do you ever play Joe Loma Rugby on PS1?
I think I did, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
PS1
great.
was the first one that...
Me and Coley are determined to bring it back.
Play any of the rugby games?
No,
Yeah,
just that one. Just that
Trust
one.
us. Don't bother.
Trust us, we've had a little round robin, and turns out that Rugby 04 is one of the worst rugby games to ever be invented.
2011, what do we think of that one? That was a good one, wasn't it? Did you play that one?
We would be in it. So old.
Is that what we
Yeah.
Exactly. I really loved it.
Well, the
I
game comes out after, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What was my rating?
I think I was right. I think Wilco was like the highest England player, but he was on the bench.
Obviously.
And then I think like the front
he was
row,
on the bench,
me and
was he?
Sheridan were pretty highly rated, yeah. It's about Wilco was on the bench and Floody was in. Floody was like 60 rated and he was fuming. But you had to swap in Wilco and it was mad. So yeah, but apart from that, I don't remember anything about the game.
That makes us feel better though, because we weren't
Yeah.
sure, being the first guest, it was actually the game came out before you.
Yeah.
That's good.
What year were you born?
2001.
Cool, yeah.
Game's changed a lot.
Yeah. So we'll start off. In the last 12 months, England regular, Premiership champion. Have you found life's changed? How is life as a Premiership champion? And
Yeah, I wouldn't say changed too much. Obviously, we came into camp pretty quickly after the back of that game, so kind of got brought back down to earth, and the kind of next job focus from Steve was quite clear, and and that was it really. But yeah, since then, no, it's been good. Had a good summer off, maybe too good, bit too heavy coming back in, but other than that, no, it was good.
you're talking to two veterans of coming in a bit heavy pre-season, mate.
Mass moves mass, mate. Last time I checked. So.
That's what I keep telling myself. But
Yeah, well, you've played a bit. You've obviously wing, but you can also play centre.
Exactly.
Sometimes you got to get over the game line, mate.
yeah, I was on the back row actually against Bath for a scrum, and I thought I fit in quite well. So
Yeah, there you go, mate. Like, don't knock it. Like, we are advocates for a bit of mass. Just with that though, Tommy, like obviously winning the league with Saints, and England becoming a regular. Is that changed now? Do you feel like you could sort of go not under the radar, because you've always been in and around the England squad? Certainly the latter end of my playing with England, you were in the squad and all those bits. But do you now feel like, okay, maybe I could get away with certain things, but now I can't?
yeah, a little bit. It's like when you join a new squad, when you first go into that kind of Saints squad as an academy kid, you're like bottom of the food chain again. You've been at the top of school, and then you've come in and you want respect off everyone else. You want to kind of fit in like that. And it's the same with England. You're doing well for your club, and you've kind of broken into that first team role, and then suddenly as soon as you get called into England again, it's like you're right at the bottom again. So it's all about them working it back up. But yeah, like you said, I think from a playing point of view, you're always being watched. There's everything kind of under the microscope. So yeah, there's not really getting away with much.
Do you find that obviously Sam Vesty, attack coach at Northampton, is he pick up on more things now, given the fact that his expectation of you, of course, has gone up? Not only your own, but obviously even me, that I sit on the other side of the fence now. But my expectation is that you are a regular for England, so therefore my expectation of what you put out is greater than maybe what my expectations were 18 months ago.
Yeah, I think for Vesty, I think that's what makes him so good. I don't think he changes anything, like how he looks at you regardless. He knows there's potential in every player he obviously coaches, and he just wants the best out of you. He doesn't treat you any differently. Obviously, the standards are you're an international rugby player. You're obviously highly respected at the club from your younger peers and things like that. So there's all kind of setting a standard is probably the main thing he'd go after for me. But no, in terms of him coaching me, I think nothing changes. He still wants me to be better and wants me to want to be better.
We had a really good chat with Michael Checker last week about communication with young players, and given that Dowse and Vesty are probably two of the younger coaching staff, what's their style in terms of their communication?
I think Vesty's very good at breaking something down. So he'll break a skill down very simply for you and have a kind of end goal of right, this is what I want you to be able to do, and you pretty much know what you're doing every time you go into it. And then communication inside of that, as any coach, if you don't do it or you don't do it a few times, it's frustrating. So obviously coaches lose their head. But no, their styles is very like next job focus. Like it's all about getting better with those two. And if you don't, they don't mind mistakes, which is probably the best thing for us lads. Like obviously if you're dropping balls all the time, that's part of rugby. Like you can't, you need to catch the ball. Yeah. But no, like mistakes, like they don't mind you making mistakes if you're putting yourself under pressure. So I think that's a good thing with those two.
Some coaches can be so like outcome based, like rather than actually going, right, what's the decision? Is the decision right? Was it on? Yeah, it was. Okay, we just didn't get it right. So therefore, like you can accept that. Where some just go, was the decision on? Yes, it was on. It was a 7-man overlap. And it's like, why are we running it? It's like a 7-man overlap. No, but you didn't catch it, so therefore it wasn't on. But it was on. And you have people like that, which is horrendous, which is not what you want.
No, not at all.
They don't strike me as those type of characters.
No, I think you see that the way Saints play is the fact that you're willing to take stuff on. And like I say, with the players you've got, you obviously know each other well, but a lot of teams, some of the times when you attack and what the shifts you do and that kind of stuff is like, it's a team that enjoys attacking and not say plays free of consequence, because you don't, but you know that if you make a mistake, we've played in teams where you make a mistake, the first thing, people think about what the coach is going to say on a Monday morning rather than playing the game. And that's sometimes when you watch you guys play, there is a certain freedom into the way you'll chance your arm and play, and more often than not, you actually get a positive result where the teams would go, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I think Vesty's, like I said, he's one of, like you said, he makes it simple, but I remember there was the time I was getting overcomplicated with like messages, and there was a scrum and they were like, oh, what do we do if 9 comes high and if there's 3 on that side, fullback's over there? And Vesty just went, will you shut up? Just look what's in front of you. There's 2 people that side, there's 4 of you that side, go that side. Like he's not just like make a decision and stick with it. Even if they start changing around, faffing around halfway through, just stick to it. And I think when you got that clear and obviously he backs us and we back ourselves to make good decisions. So I think, yeah, it is a good spot.
It's like that try you scored against Munster in Europe last season, of course, coming out of your end. Like many teams in a tight game like that just kind of get out of their half, but the ability to like all shift out wider, still remember it. Fake line out, come out, Mitch, good wide pass, beautiful right, left to right, whip on it, boom, out the back, and of course pick them up, like a hell of a try. But like that's where, as you say, Tommy, like the ability to strip it back to like the decision of, is it on? Yes. Well, in which case, we're backing ourselves and we go, which must be great fun to play in, because obviously when it comes off, it like kind of reinforces that freedom, I suppose. Yeah,
exactly. And I think, that's exactly the point. I think playing in a team where you're kind of being safe isn't always fun. Obviously, there are times, and there's a time and a place for it. You're under a lot of pressure, and you've already gone through too many phases in your half or something like that. But yeah, I think our squad and the way we guys play, we know we can back each other, and we've got some quick guys in the team to get us out of trouble, like Slight. So no, it's awesome to be a part of.
Who's quicker then? Your Slice?
Oh, Slice, easy. Yeah,
Ollie
Slice is rapid.
I think the New Zealand winger's still looking for him. Yeah. He went literally in and out of it in like a phone box. And I think he's still at Auckland, just trying to find him.
Oh yeah, that was really. He's so quick. Like I can't. It when we do speed and stuff, like he contains himself. You can see like he wants to run really fast. Like he's got that 0 to 100, but he's like, you know, the fast people when they're like jogging next to you, and you're like, right, this is a piss taker. Like he is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
That's everyone else in the squad, mate.
Yeah. You know about that, Cole?
I've often got the coaches run alongside me. That's
keep going, Dan. Keep pumping them arms.
I've had it several times in pre-season where you're doing fitness, and then like you're that far behind, the coaches start running alongside you. It's like, please leave me alone, please.
It is demoralising though, not demoralising, but you know when like some lads are just so fucking quick, and like you say, they're not even trying, and you're like balls out, and you're like, shit. Yeah. What's the point? They're just so much quicker.
In Northampton squad, you've got 5 of your in the back line.
Yeah.
You've got Alex Mitchell, Finn Smith, Fraser Dingwall, Furbank and yourself are all in the England squad, all playing together regularly at club. Do you all hang out off the field?
And Slights in that, yeah.
Slights in that, of course, yeah, sorry.
Yes. Too much.
Really?
No, it is good. No, we've all got Virgin memberships, obviously. So in the evenings, we're down in the sauna.
Sorry, the health club, right?
The health club, right? Yeah, that club.
I don't know, summer.
We'll keep that in. Yeah, it was a long summer on the last holiday, was it?
So obviously the health club membership. Yeah, we're all pretty close. But no, afterwards we're always kind of getting coffees together. The endless banter of tearing each other is just non-stop. Lads cooking dinners, having dinners at each other's houses, pretty much non-stop. So yeah, we do see a lot of each other off the field as well. Try not to talk about rugby too much, but
Do you all have like roles in? Do you reckon in those 5 or 6 of you? Do you have like? Does anyone play the like? Thurb's obviously now captain, slightly older. Is he the more sort of fatherly role?
no,
or?
absolutely not. The fatherly role's probably slight because he's actually got a kid.
Yes,
But no, Furb's very much probably the youngest role. Like, and that's probably a lot coming from me. But no, I'll probably say I'm par with him. But Furb's generally, he's a changed man. Obviously captain on the pitch, level-headed. Kind of that role. Off the pitch, just I can't describe it. He is a child. He is a child. You won't look at him and go, he's 27 at all.
So who out of that group kind of holds each of you accountable? Because like I'm getting the impression that you all kind of like doss about together outside the club.
Yeah, I think there is that. I think Colsey's quite good at holding you accountable, but he's quite patronising with it. That's the issue with Colsey.
So no one's listening to it.
But I think it's more of like a ganging up thing. So like if one person says something slightly outrageous or slightly out of line, I think we all do quite well to go at him together. And then, so I wouldn't say it's one person. And then vice versa. You say something ridiculous, you'll get a bit of heat for it. So I think it's quite a fair level playing field. It's not one person of such.
And with that young crop or that now experienced, obviously win the championship, that kind of like it's what you got. It feels probably unique that you don't ever want to kind of lose that. And does that sort of excite you about obviously the seasons to come at Saints?
Yeah, exactly that. I think we have like a draft for the lockers in the changing room.
We have draft.
Do you have the draft?
Thanks. We didn't ask you to name drop that, but we do a draft. Live. It's coming live show. You can get tickets.
So we've got this draft in the changing room, and it's done on caps. And if you've played international, that counts as 2 caps. So I think it was the most capped player was Rory Hutchinson. Then it went Mitch. I think I was 6th. And so I don't know what it's like at Tigers, but for a 23-year-old picking 6th and going in Mayfair end of the locker and not Old Kent Road is quite mental.
Yep.
I think that was the reality check for me to be like, Jesus, I'm one of the old ones in a way. But no, it is exciting having a young squad. I think we've got a class group, and yeah, future wise it's positive, and hopefully if we all stick together and stay around, it'd be brilliant.
Do you feel like there's a bit of a swagger around in a positive way? But like, you know, sometimes like where you're a young group and you want success, but now you have, like you don't have to fake it. Like you've got some bit behind you now. Like it's not.
Yeah, I think there is. I don't think there's naturally a swagger.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about it before the Bath game. We're like in kind of meetings before, like we need to have that swagger in a way. Like obviously, like you said, we can have that swagger. We're champions, but obviously we've got a target on our back, and no game's an easy game, and everyone's going to want a piece of it. So, no, it's important to kind of stick our chests out. But I think naturally, like I said, I don't think it's there, but it's something that we'll definitely try and grow.
Have you spoken about that this pre-season, about you are now champions, and so now everyone's going to probably raise their game, or you know what I mean? You've obviously been Northampton been good for years, but when you're champions, it's sort of you become a different target, don't you? Ultimately, have you spoken about that and how you respond, or you just go about? Is it sort of like we know everyone's going to be better, but we're just going to keep doing what we do? And
I think more that one. Obviously, we spoke about it, and teams are going to come after us, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Not right now, Tommy. We're having a nice chat.
Lock the door.
We're going to fill him in out of that.
But I think if we, like we said, obviously we've got a game plan that we've had for years, and if we carry on going about our process and what we're good at, I think the rest kind of takes care of itself. But like you said, I think that's what we're going to do. Focus on ourselves, have in the back of our mind, know that obviously teams are going to want a bit. But
just with that system and like you playing together and you're all mates, do you find it? Do you try more stuff when you're playing on the field because you know each other and there's confidence with each other, or do you find almost like you don't need to try stuff because you just know each other so well that you can just, you know what I mean? You don't need to risk anything because you just know each other so well.
Yeah, I think like yeah, the best thing about that is that because obviously we know each other's strengths. Like, Finn knows what I'm good at, and that aerial game a bit more has come into my game, so he knows he can go to that kick a bit more often. And I think with Furbs, like the lines he runs, I think all of that stuff kind of comes with our game plan. Like if we stick to our process, we know that we're going to see the best out of Furbs, the best out of Finn, like all these lads. So yeah, I think it's just a case of playing off each other more than kind of going, we do a 6 skill in training, let's just chuck it in now or something like that. But
how much of that done is, Tommy, like feeding back, like in training though, going like, actually mate, like when you get that situation again, like give me that, or don't do that like you're taking away all my space and I want this, or how much is that done in the analysis room?
I think a lot of it for us is on pitch. Finn is unbelievable at that, to just stop us in the moment, to have the conversations. Like obviously we'll look at it on the footage afterwards, but to get a better idea. But no, the conversations are like constantly happening in training, which is something that obviously when I first came in and started playing, it wasn't that kind of, it was kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you running that line and all of that stuff? Whereas now it's kind of like the problem solves happens there and then. And yeah, to be clear like that before the next time, it's just that bit easier.
Yeah. I want to ask you then about obviously leadership and how to deal with people. Is George Furbank. You said that off the field what he's like. So then how does he then...
How do you take him seriously?
Yeah, how does he, once he crosses the white line, how does he then portray the captain, and what's his captain style like?
Well, I think the way he plays, like he leaves pretty much everything out there. Like he's not the biggest guy, but he hits pretty hard. He runs hard every time. So I think the kind of the way he plays and leads in that way is pretty inspiring. And then he is a good communicator. Like he does talk well. And when he talks, everyone does listen. And I think he does have that leadership quality, but the good thing is that he's very open to obviously like the likes of Finn, Fraser Dingwall. These guys are also very good, and it's kind of like a collective. You've got Dingers who talks through more defensive stuff. Furbs will take a team role, and then you've got Finn on the attack stuff. So the way those three kind of communicate is awesome, and to have Furbs being able to like let them lead as well is real good. You know,
obviously you had Courts previously, obviously Dan Bigger at the club as well, who would have done a lot of leadership stuff. Is there any aspects of what they did that George, you can see that okay, he's probably taken that or learned that from Courtney, learned that from Luds, learned that from Biggs?
Hard to notice for me. I think he's asking. I don't know if he gets. I don't know what Courts is giving him. Courts is giving him good insights.
Courts is giving him how to basically be so laid back that it does just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I don't think lads need to train today.
Yeah.
You're all right, Courts. I think
don't
you
train
don't
Mondays.
need to, but
don't train Mondays, bro.
The team might need to. You don't know. You're just fine. During the World Cup,
that is true.
I think the boys need to train. It's like, Courts, you can get away with not training. Some of us need to train.
Yeah. No, I know, but I think Furbs is asking around for advice. Like I think Dills is helping him out a lot as well. And Biggs is always on the other side of the line. So I think there are bits, not that I can notice. I think that whenever he shouts, I guess it's Biggs, and whenever he doesn't shout, it's Courts. So
perfect blend. Dylan, you're referring to that is of course Dylan Hartley.
Positional wise, you've obviously played in. You're with England winger, but you played fullback at Saints. You played in the centre at Saints. Has that given you an appreciation of how to be almost a better winger? Do you see yourself as a winger that can play other positions, or do you see yourself as just a back? And then in the same time, has that allowed you to playing in the centres, giving you a better understanding of the wing and your positional play, playing off centre and fullback and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think right now a winger playing can play centre, fullback if needed.
12 shortly.
12, yeah. The bigger you get, the further in you get. I'll be going for Finn soon. I won't touch 9. I'll probably stay away from that. But no, I think, playing as a winger and then having that ability to go to 13 and fullback, definitely helps. And I think I've said in a few other interviews before, there's like how a 13 defends can help a winger out, and you kind of understand that. And obviously, if you understand the roles defending as a 13, it's going to help you kind of trust him in certain scenarios, and then kind of what you would do. I think it definitely adds something to my game and helps me out a lot. Yeah,
because I don't know, I've never played in the backs, despite what you might think. But 13 is probably the hardest position on the field to defend, isn't it? In regards to anything inside of 13, normal teams just carrying up. Like 12's got a 10 inside him or a 7 inside him, whatever it is, and a 13 outside him, whereas 13, there's a chance you're going to get carried out, there's a chance people are going to go around the outside of you, and you've got the winger sometimes back and stuff. So 13's a sort of, if you have a good defensive 13, you probably have a good defensive side,
winger.
if you know what I mean.
Defensive winger for sure. I mean, Dingers is like a good example of someone who's always connected. He can, like, when you got him inside you, you know he's always going to get to your inside if they step back in. And then you know if he makes a read, he's probably going to land on it. And if not, you've got enough time to go and land on the next one. So, yeah, he's a good example of it. But, yeah, 13, I mean, it was hard to start with in defence. Like, you've got lads coming hard, things going flying out the back. But luckily, I think if you're quick, you can kind of get away with a fair bit. If you can kind of catch up, it kind of gets you out of a bit of bother. But obviously, if you commit to someone coming short and they go out the back, you do look like an idiot as well. So there was a lot of adjusting. I mean, I was called 360 Freemo for the start of it because I was going in and then spinning all the way around trying to get back out. So I had the 360 on my head for a few weeks. But no, I think it's a position I'm happy to go to if needed.
And Fraser Dingwall, like, he obviously then would help you with that stuff so he spent a lot of time trying to help you out on that.
Exactly, like him and Rory as well. Yeah, they would definitely, Rory Hutchinson, they would definitely help me out. Yeah. Playing
13 and winger, but mainly wing. Do you now have a better understanding about how hard it is maybe for 13 to get you the ball, even though you're in space and you're like, I want the ball? Like, do you start a little bit tighter? Do you, like, as your, I suppose, mindset change a little bit? Like, I've played 13, not me, you've played 13, and you appreciate this quite difficult.
Yeah, exactly that. It is tough. And like Bath, I came on for the last 30, but like I couldn't touch the ball. Like we were just getting caught at 13 a lot of the time. But no, it is difficult. And I think attacking at 13, my kind of head went to, I've got to be the playmaker. I've got to sit out the back of stuff. I've got to be all instructor and stuff like that, stuff that I don't really like. But as obviously the game went on, it was something that I could kind of adapt to, but also bring like a bit of freedom of roaming around a little bit as a 13. But yeah, like I said, getting it to the edge isn't always the easiest thing. And yeah, you could probably give them more credit now.
A good 13 makes everything look simple, but actually it's really hard to do. And from the outside, you watch a game, you're like, why can't you just get it to the wing? Like, just catch and pass. Just be better. And like literally,
just be better.
Just be better. Why can't you? Everyone can do that. And actually, it's a really tough place to play.
Given the talent of back three, like we just mentioned there, Ollie Slighton and of course George Furbank, do you all sort of bring out more in each other? Because we played in teams where maybe the competition in the back three isn't as strong, but you have one outstanding winger, and they can afford to kind of be off a little bit or not bring it every week. But because you've got so much talent, you kind of all can't afford to do that.
Yeah, I think that's it. The pressure's definitely gone up. There's no kind of easy ways. Like as you say, if you're feeling comfortable, you're never feeling comfortable now. You've got the likes of obviously Slights, Furbs, James Ram, George Hendy now. So like the pressure's on, and it is good. It's good competition, and the fact we're all trying to help each other. It's not like we're competing and we're going to the death and we're trying to smoke each other in training and things like that. I don't know if that's what it was like back in the day, but it was, we're in a good spot, and it's obviously the competition's always good to have a bit of competition there, and yeah, it's exciting.
So does it almost feel like England trade? Because at England you go and you know it's straight away to this level, so you're almost getting that week in, week out now at your club.
Yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say, like, from previous years to now, yeah, for sure. I think there is that level has stepped up in the back three.
You speak about England there, Ben. When you came to England, obviously there's been a big transition with England's defensive scheme into a sort of heavy line speed, almost like a blitz-heavy defence. As a winger, obviously it was new pretty much for everybody involved, but as a winger, how do you find that? And do you find it sort of more or less work? Because obviously as a forward, we will be running probably 0 to 5, 0 to 10 metres around the breakdown and hitting the sort of arrow runner that we talk about. But as a winger, you've obviously, if you're closing stuff down, you've got to run
20 metres.
Yeah, and
20 metres plus, and then potentially if the ball goes over your head, you've got to go back. And so that was like I remember one thing on tour. It was about I think the New Zealand media spoke about how well our wingers scrambled, but it was like the fact that it was almost part of the system, and the fact that you get high, and if they throw over the top, you have the athletic ability between you and Manny Feo Bosa on the wing to the speed to close that down. That's what's built in the system. But how do you find that is it more work? Do you find it mentally harder, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I found it hard. And I think when I got introduced, I was like, Jesus, this is good. Like, it's either going to be unbelievable or we're going to be left out to dry. But yeah, I did find it hard to start with. Of like, I thought, am I going to be blowing like the whole time this game? And then when we eventually do get the ball back, I'm not going to be able to do anything with it because I am absolutely shattered. So I think, yeah, at first I was probably a bit worried, but I'd say quite a lot of the time the ball actually didn't get out that much. So like, we'd stopped it like at Slady or even one before. So in a way I was a bit like, so it was more running 20 metres up, not being involved and having to get back on side to then do it again. But yeah, I think when it started working and like you saw errors come out of other teams, I think it was like, oh right, this thing does work. But yeah, and also the tracking back, you've always got enough time if they're going to chuck that big one. That yeah, you've got loads of time to get back under there.
How much time was spent doing it, sitting down with Felix and doing it in terms of analysis, or how much was it the fact of you just need to get out there and rep it in terms of just sprinting and building up that capacity?
It's more done on how many passes they're passing rather than kind of looking at what player, right, I'm on him, I'm going to just light him up, I'm just going to run after him. It's more you've got to wait for the pass and you've got to, there's a lot of timing, and then obviously because you're running so fast in, that whole level change and like making sure you're not smoking his head off is the other thing you're worried about. But yeah, it was difficult, but like you said, getting the reps in was the only thing that was going to help you get better at it.
Watching it from afar, like, it is incredibly effective when you do it well. Like, it completely shuts down attackers. And I suppose, is that the rewarding part that makes you keep getting back off the line to then sprint again, because you're thinking, well, actually, we're getting what we want out of it, and I'll get the ball back in a minute to then go do my thing, ball in hand.
Yeah, exactly that. The errors, I don't know the stats. I'm not really a stats guy, but
I don't have them either, for you, Tommy. But there was a lot.
But yeah, if you can get the ball back that easily, in a way, well, not that easily, but if we're putting skill set under pressure for them, I think it was only making it easier for us and getting the ball a lot quicker in better positions. Obviously,
doing that defence at England compared to Northampton was a bit more contained. And of course the kick sprints as well, getting after Mitch's box kicks and everything like that, and attacking, getting into shape. Like, how do you physically feel after playing a test match compared to a club game?
I think it varies a lot on who you play, and I think test rugby, you can sometimes there's a lot of stop-start stuff going on. I think more often, obviously the whole defence work is the hard part. That's where you're blowing, and then the kick chases are obviously tough as well. But I think from when you go from Saints, you can have a day where you could be ball in play can be a lot longer, and you're constantly running up and down in a kick battle. And I think that for me after the game is where I'm like, Jesus, and then you feel the DOMs and everything. But you can feel it more in a test game in terms of collisions and hits. You feel sorer that way afterwards. So it's more of a DOMsy feeling from just running more and staying connected, not doing as much burst stuff than in test rugby. You're kind of getting hit hard and running hard and always, do short sprints.
Test match rugby is pretty much, it's almost, the intensity goes from like 0, break and play, to 100%, and then it's a short, sharp, everything's as hard as possible, then it stops, then it's short, sharp, and it sounds easy, but actually, because everyone's 100%, it's hard, whereas the Premiership can sometimes be, it's sort of 80, 90% or 85%, and it goes on for a bit of play, then it stops, and the intensity probably isn't as spiky as what the international rugby is, but yeah, definitely, I think, international, look at the collisions, you look at, just what amazed me is you look at international teams, and I say it's like stuff like kick sprints is, everyone's a great athlete, but everybody's 100% flat out, chasing after a ball. So in the Premiership, it's kind of like, there'll be someone running, and it's like, they're probably they're quicker than everyone else, but they don't even look like they're running, you know what I mean? It's just kind of, you get there, whereas international rugby, everyone is flat out.
Agreed. I'm flat out in team tactical, so it's
One thing as well I wanted to speak about is aerially. Yeah. Like, you're very, very good. And is that something that you've always been good at, something you've worked on, or is that something it just comes with being at that level and playing at that level, you just have to be able to do it?
I had a chat with Steve Borthwick and Richard Wigglesworth, and a lot of it from the World Cup camps, and after that, and their main focus for me was like, you need to be better at getting the ball back for us. And it was pretty much, you could tell part of the game, I thought I was pretty good in areas, like competition-wise from other wingers. I thought I was pretty much level par and good at other things, but it was literally like, if you're not going to get these balls back, we're not going to pick you. That was the kind of feeling I had. So I was like, kind of made it a bit of a mission just to get really good at that and go after them as much as I could. And it kind of made it a bit of a strength of mine towards the end of that.
So once you get that feedback though, Tommy, like how do you then go about doing that, mate? Because you know that you have to put like a bit of a plan in place. So is that just working with the wingers at Saints? Is that working with Vesty? Like how do you go about actually improving in that side of the ball?
Well, I think there is a bit of that, and having that kind of connected chats with, because I think they're doing it a lot more now with England and Saints being more of a partnership rather than it being like, right, this is just what you're going to work on now with us, and then this is what you're going to work on here with England. So, I mean, obviously lucky enough to have Furbs and Slides, so we kind of knew the game plan of what we need to go after, and that was getting these high balls back. So it was very easy for us lads to get each other after training, get each other beforehand, have the conversations, and I think recently, obviously, it working for England, and I think as us Saints lads in the last 2 games in the semi-final and final, we kind of went a bit more contest, which kind of helped us out.
I was
going to
say the semi-final and final, you won everything back in the air, like airily, and that almost, not going to say it won you the game, but it made it so much like you could go to the area contest, you get the ball back, you set pieces on top, or you get the ball back, and the game just becomes not simpler, but it's an area you're going after. And I think that was what, I think as a player like you, looking at the way you play, like the fact that in broken field, carrying that kind of stuff, there's not many that can do what you can do, but you add that aspect to the game, getting the ball back aerially, it's like you almost become that rounded, complete winger. And if you've got a winger that can get the ball back and do what you do naturally, it's kind of like, it's ideal, for England and whatever it is, because you can play, as England said, like that counter-attacking game. When England do get the ball back, they want to play and move it to ball players like you and Mane on the wing and stuff, that it gets you yardage, and it's about getting the ball in your hands.
So once you have won it against your opposite man, like does the next one feel easier? Do you feel like, right, I'm going to go do it again? Momentum's changed.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's the tough thing. That's what I get stressed about, that first catch. Like as soon as you got that catch in, like the rest are just so easy. The confidence. As soon as if you drop it, you're like, shit, what's the next one's going to be like? Is Ben going to hit this horrible helicopter of a kick? You're there going, oh god. As soon as you got that first one in, the confidence, spikes.
Who are the best players that you played against in your eyes in the air?
Tom Roebuck's very good. He's a pain
good.
when we play Sale. He is a pain. We definitely kind of watch him airily. I think you got like Tyrone Green as well. He's like someone who's like obviously not the biggest guy, but he gets so high. I'd say he's pretty niggly in the air as well. And then from like a international level, I'm trying to think who's.
When we trained at York, was it York? It wasn't the thing. And there was like you, Freddie Stew, Will Muir, Abath, and Roebuck, and literally, but it was just like, right, 40 was like banging and just banging aerial balls and stuff like that, and it was watching 4 guys go at it. Like one time Muir would get it and go length, and Roebuck get it, you get it, and it was just like Freddie Stew would go back and get it. You'd be like, this is actually fun to watch, lads. Like,
sat in the middle.
That, Forwards are blowing out our arse. We're just running after these balls, but like you're watching it, and there's such a skill. And when you actually get it back, it's such a momentum shift in regards to the game, isn't it? So,
does that almost like when you do go up in the air and you out jump someone and win it? Is that like, because that's the kind of like, okay, you can go 1-on-1 and skin someone like Ollie Slightham did to New Zealand winger that's still stuck in Auckland pitch. But if you actually go and dominate the air against your winger, that's another chance you almost 1-on-1 where you've gone like, you've done them.
You've done them, yeah. I think there is that. But you always think you've gone so high in the air. Like you always think, and then you like watch it back and you're like this far off the ground. You're like, maybe I wasn't that high. But no, the 1-on-1s, like getting one up on your winger is always a nice little thing in the game as well.
Court said that about tackling, didn't he? He came on it and he was like, there's times where I just think, oh my God, I've smoked him. I literally smoked him. He said he looks at the big screen. He's like, oh no, I didn't really. Same thing. Like, I only just got off the air.
That's why I'm trying to get it over my head, so it looks like I'm
more impressive.
I've gone higher.
Put that on a reel. When obviously teams tried to kick away from certain players, if you're out there, right, Tommy, and you feel like no one's kicking it on me, do you feel left out, or do you think, no, that's a sign of respect?
I think it's more obvious when they're going from like more of a crossfield kick. So if they're doing more crossfield kicks to the other one, potentially a respect sign. But normally what happens is there's just like that kick battle in the 15 and they're like, I'm at the game for a while, and it is a bit boring, to be honest.
On that kick battle stuff, once you have fielded it, what cues do you look at to go, right, I'm going to launch on this attack? You know what I mean? You see a lot of teams that will kick it and they'll stay in this kick battle back and forwards. Like, what lights up for you? Go, right, I'm on.
I think a poor kick, obviously. If the kick's obviously gone a bit shorter, and normally I just find, sorry Dan, but people like you.
I won't be in that front line. So you'll be finding me after you've broken the first line. You'll find me, but yeah.
Actually, it was a funny one last year. Well, I say funny, it wasn't remotely funny, actually. Obviously, Saints did a proper number on us at your place, and you made a break, and I was coming across, and you chipped it, and I was like, well, I'm going to fucking tackle him anyway. Because I was like, and it was like, chip, 1, 2, tackle.
I was raging.
And
I was
yeah,
rolling
you were.
on the floor. Like,
but thank God you scored, because I was 100% going to
going
the sin
off.
bin. Yeah, I was.
I was thinking that. I was like, this is nuts. But yeah.
Yeah, that was totally illegal for me.
So basically, you find blokes like Len.
Yeah.
Hang on, I've chucked myself under the bus. No, you find people. So
you find blokes like
so
Len that've got
a
no
poor
pace.
kick.
So
or
a
you're
poor
looking for
kick,
people
yeah.
like Cole.
Obviously, field position, you're gonna try and run it back if you're in a good position. But yeah, if you find some slower forwards who you can see are kind of grouped together.
Stop looking at me when you say slower forwards grouped together, mate. It's fine.
I've got it wrong though. You do get it wrong. Like you think, oh, I'm gonna go run it here, mate, and then suddenly that big hole you think was there has just come to 2 big shoulders, and that is the worst feeling. I'd say running back, the worst.
And the whole pack's like grunting at you for like making you like them run all the way back. So just stay in the kick battle, Tommy.
Pen turnover. My bad, lads.
Yeah. Oh God. Do you think like the role of the wingers changed a lot now in terms of? I just think you have to, the days of just standing outside in the wing, out in the wide channels, like seems to be long gone. Like you've got to be constantly looking for work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. I think for me, when I came into it, I was never, because being at fullback was where I played most of my games at the start. Going on the wing, I was never like the one that I'd want to stay on the wing, because that was one thing. I remember Boydie playing me on the wing, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird. I've never played here, but I'm just going to do what I did at fullback, just on the wing." So I was never one to stay on the wing. That was kind of my one thing I'd kind of put my hat on, was like, I'm not staying on this wing. And to be honest, I'm not quick enough, I would say. I'd say you got slights. Sorry.
We are so slow.
No, but like, you've got out and out wingers who are just rapid. Caden Murley, Slights, Manny, like these lads are rapid. Like give the ball with 5 meters of space, they're going to be like either skinning you, stepping you. Because I'm slightly bigger, I don't think if I got given a bit of space, I think the go-to chip or I'm going to step inside, like I feel like I'm going to get caught. There's no, for me, real speed. So if I can pop up in other positions around the park off 9s and off 10s, I think that's where I probably stress the defence a bit more.
I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I think you're plenty quick enough, mate. But yeah, but you're right. Like you've obviously got a physical overload that you can bring to the game, which not all wingers can. So there's no point not bringing that to the party. And is that like free roam? Are you looking again like to get outside of Alex Mitchell's shoulder? Like you talking to him, like going, Mitch, like use me, or you popping up on the inside of Finn Smith? Like, are you looking for certain cues again? Are you looking at my mate over here for certain cues to go right? That's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, I think around 9's like quite a good spot to go. You've got people like folding automatically, and they're not looking up, and they've just missed you, and you've kind of hiding from their eye line. And then, either kind of off of 10 inside, or you're trying to make the difference and get the numerical advantage. So, those are the 3 main things I'd go for. And
with obviously Alex Mitchell being such a threat himself, it obviously creates more space for you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And
for
me. And for him and for you, you know what I mean?
Exactly that. He's obviously the dummy master, so me showing up on his shoulder makes kind of people potentially look at me and give him a bit of space, and then if they don't, then he gives it to me, and then that creates a bit of holes for me. So
I'll say it's as tough as a forward. Is it you're at second defender or something like that? The 9 gets outside the guard. He's running, he's pumping. You're like, I'm gonna hit him, and then you're coming on his shoulder, and you're like, fuck, he's big and strong. He's gonna run over me if I don't. And then you commit to that one, and you get done on the inside, or vice versa. It's like, oh, just hit Mitch. Sorry, Freeman. He's gone through and scored.
You've given fool's gold like we've done there. So when we play Saints, Tommy's going to pop up thinking you've given a fool's gold, Coley, and you're going to go, right.
You're going to hit Mitch.
Yeah.
Mitch goes straight through. Cheers, Coley.
He's going to hit you, and Mitch is going to go through and score. Shit.
Yeah. I'll just find myself at the bottom breakdown.
Yours.
Tommy, a lot of people may not know, but epilepsy. that you suffer from or have. What does it mean for you, and how do you manage it?
It doesn't really impact me much at the moment. Obviously, at the time of finding out having it was the main thing of how to deal with it. I was 13, having these vacant spells of just staring blankly into space. I still do that now, to be honest. But and I think that was picked up from like school teachers and stuff. So I just thought I was a daydreamy kid. Like, it was like a normal daydream. It honestly felt like the exact same thing. And then first year of Saints, obviously the stress of rugby might have been a factor. I went out one night, alcohol, hungover, no sleep, and then I had a first full-blown fit. That was obviously it was a tough part, kind of tough thing to come to terms with, of being told I probably didn't have it anymore as a youngster. It was something I'd grown out of, to having a full-blown and then being right, this is what you've got. And to be told you've got to take tablets for the rest of your life obviously wasn't the nicest thing, but it's all controlled, all managed. I can drive, so like independence-wise, it's still there, and there's nothing. While it's under control, it's all good.
You said in the media, didn't you? You've come out and said, I think a lot of people come towards you and said, sort of, I'm epileptic, and what you're doing is inspiring in some regards. Have you found that there's people messages come through? Yeah, I've had, especially after I first came out about it, it was massive, and it is nice to play a game and you get kids and stuff coming up to you afterwards, finding you an inspiration and like giving them a bit of hope to pursue what they want to pursue is the main reason I did it, really. It's always nice to hear from people and get feedback from them.
Amazing, Tommy. Mate, whenever we have a guest, we always like to finish with our questions. So we've got a few to finish up. What do you love about rugby?
I think the main I just love going into work and it not feeling like a job. I think that's the main thing, and being able to have conversations with your mates and getting torn left, right and centre that you probably wouldn't be able to do at any other job. That's the main one, and then obviously playing in front of huge crowds is the second one.
You were saying earlier about some of your teammates being children, but I mean, you're 35 and going on like 12, aren't you?
Yeah.
And there's something about the changing room and your teammates that you just don't grow up, do you?
Peter Pan, mate.
Well, yeah.
You don't grow up. It's honestly, it's like you say, there's no other environment like it where you just can't get away with that in the real world, in terms of like the banter and the harshness and the, like, it's so black and white, but like you couldn't say that.
Yeah. Like
there was a colleague, a former teammate of ours that retired basically. He took that same level of sort of changing room humour to the work office. He was in HR after 2 days. And
did someone trip over and he's like, shoe fella, literally next thing HR. You're like,
it was just like, you just can't get away with it in the real world, unless you podcast. But even then, it just gets edited out.
What or who was your first rugby crush?
I was a big Quins fan, so Nick Evans, and I played 10, so Nick Evans, I liked him a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
You actually grew up around Norfolk.
I did.
Where there's a big catchment area in Norfolk.
Yeah, there is a big catchment. There was obviously that Leicester Tigers group. There was me, Freddie, JVP. Yeah, that was a huge catchment area. Yeah.
So how comes? Because obviously, like you say, you mentioned those guys there. They end up at Leicester, and yourself ended up at Northampton.
Yeah, I was actually very small when I was with those lads. Like Freddie was that height pretty much from when he was 12. JVP actually was quite small. He got a lot bigger, but I was just small. I wasn't growing. I was still skillful. Like I could make line breaks, but I wouldn't be going anywhere because I didn't have my legs. So I think they released me for being too small. Kind of that's the vibe I got. And then it was college I'd chosen, and there was the Brooksby, that kind of the partnership. And I remember talking to Jamie Taylor, and Jamie Taylor was like, come to Brooksby, we want to keep an eye on you. And obviously me being dropped, I'm there like, nah, I don't want to go. So I was like, I'll go to Malton, who's in Saints' catchment, and I'll try my best through there. But first year I had nothing. Like they were like, nah, you're not coming to our academy, blah, blah. And then it was second year, had a growth spurt, and that was it. And that was away.
Look at you now.
Oh yeah, you've shown them on the off season, Tommy. I'll show you.
I mean,
I'm not
Steve,
big enough.
I had a conversation with Steve during the summer, and he was like, I was going after whoever let you slip through the fingers or whatever.
Name names. Tell me, tell me who it was.
Jamie Taylor, where are you?
No. Jamie was very good.
Could have been one of ours. Yeah. But no, like, it just shows, though, I think it's important to mention, and the reason I bring it up, and I know we're taking the piss a bit, but there'll be a lot of listeners out there that parents that maybe worry about their kid, maybe like the same situation, right? Where it gets to that stage of their career, all those bits where academies, like, on the cusp of academy, and you're a perfect example, Tommy, that didn't get through it first time, went a different path, ended up in Northampton, and here you are, like, Premiership champion, regular England player. Like, it shows that if you don't get through the door the first time, like, it can go another route. And I think I know I've taken the piss there, but like that's the message I was trying to get at.
Yeah. No, totally agree. I think you see that with the uni students as well. Like, Domers was probably like one of the well-known first ones to come through the Cardiff Met, and Tom Pearson as well. So, no, it is good just to stick at it and it'll come.
Which 3 rugby players would you love to go out for dinner with?
I would go with someone like Khaleesi, let's say. Yeah. Nick Easter. Rogue.
That's so rogue.
That's rogue. Yeah.
But you're in for a decent hangover the next day.
I'll go Courts. I've never actually been out for dinner with Courts. He bought me dinner once. It was after the Australia tour. We went on that fishing trip, that famous fishing trip, where we had the worst vomiting ever, and it was just the bleakest thing. And I remember me and Courts just being absolutely out of it. I was rooming with Courts at the time in Perth, and we got back, and he was like, "Do you want any food?" And I was there like, "Oh yeah." Obviously, we both like chundered it all up, like beforehand. So he's like, "Oh, do you want some food?" He was there like, I was like, "Yeah, please." He's like, "Yeah, but you've got to go down and get it." I was like, "Okay." So bear in mind, he's ordering his chicken, like he's ordering everything off the menu, and I'm there going, right. So I've got to go down, being a young lad, pick up this Deliveroo when we were meant to be athletes of such,
and pray that Eddie Jones isn't in the lobby.
Walk down, see Richard Hill, Eddie Jones, they're all there sitting there, security on the gate as well, Bill and Ferg, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do this. So I go back up, I get my wash bag, I go in, Deliveroo, goes in the wash bag, come up stinking of chicken past him. He's there like, "Where's the food, bruv?" I was there like, wash bag. He goes there like, "What are you doing?"
You got the right idea, though.
Yeah,
that is
smart. You've got to be smart.
Mate.
I thought Courtney's the only bloke that could like literally order anything and get away with it. Like, but he obviously thinks everyone else could. But honestly, and they used to watch. Sometimes they watch some blokes like a hawk, wouldn't they? Like, I remember one player basically, his roommate ordered a club sandwich, and he got accused of ordering it. It's not me. It's like, "Your signature. That's your signature." Yeah, because I signed it for him. He was like, "Oh, it's your signature."
No, it wasn't even his room. And he's like, "Why are you ordering a club sandwich? You shouldn't be eating stuff like that." And he goes, "Well, I haven't. Like, I was just in the room." It's like, "Your signature, it wasn't for me, I promise." Like, yeah, club sandwich gate. What's your ultimate rugby fantasy?
To do the double with Saints. Old and new badge. What do you think of the new badge?
Don't mind it.
Don't mind it.
Don't mind it, but there is, yeah. Just get used to it, don't you? After a while, I'll give it a year and I'll be used to it. But
yeah.
Well, you're the Saints guy. You tell me. Do you like it? Or you probably can't comment.
No, I like it. Love it.
Well, Leicester changed their badge not so long ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
Who was that?
We used to have like the club crest, but the city crest, but that was, you couldn't trademark it. So basically, the club changed it to a tiger head, and then we had to change the background or something like that to make it like a badge. There's all this kind of like commercial stuff. But yeah, did you actually have any input into what was said, or were you just basically told?
I remember we were on the Zoom call to talk about it. And then, yeah, I think it was more of like the history behind it, of where it's come from, and they've just stripped it right back. Yeah, so it's more from a history point of view. But whether we agreed or not was a different matter, but I like it.
Basically, it's one of those things as players. It's like we've had many things in our career where it's like, we're going to include you as players. It's like team motto, right? We want 6 words to describe this group, and like, so pick 6 words out of these 6 words. We'll have those 6 words then. Brilliant.
Yeah, we'll have those 6 words. We just change the order of them.
Here's the options of the badge. Which one do you like? Well, the one you're showing me. That's the one I'll have then. Thanks.
Have another option? No, just this one.
Yes, this one. Yeah.
Tommy, thanks so much for joining, mate.
No problem.
Best of luck for the rest of the season, and I look forward to watching you. Hopefully in the autumn, mate.
Hopefully.
Doing your thing.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers, Dan.